How can a new grad nurse land an interview for the ICU? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the vlog. For those of you who don't know, my name is Sean. I do videos on how to survive nursing, how to survive the real world of nursing. I offer tips, tricks, suggestions, how-to hacks, and real-life honest answers on how to survive this crazy thing we call nursing. Today is another Hey Sean episode, answering a question from the tribe. Had a new grad nurse who's curious on how she can land a job into the ICU. New grad who is interested in the ICU hasn't actually gotten the call that she got an interview, that her application was accepted. And she's curious, how in the world can she land the interview? Completely off the top of my head, figured I'd give you my honest answers, as I always do, on 5 things. 5? Did I say 5? 5 things. I think of 5 things that you need to know and or do if you want to land that interview in the ICU as a new grad. Let's go jumping right into this. Number 1, I hope you've done the legwork while you were in school. For instance, did you do anything at all that proves you had an interest in the ICU? Because if all you did was your ICU rotation in your nursing program, then yeah, your likelihood of getting an interview in the ICU, it's not that strong. It's not completely out of the ballpark, but yeah, you're going to have a difficult time. Most directors, most individuals who are going to hire you into a specialty area like the ICU or the ED or the OR, OR is a very special case. You have to show that you had some interest in it. You got to have some sort of characteristics, some sort of motivation behind wanting to go into the ICU other than, I want to go in the ICU because I don't want to work in med-surg. I'm sorry, but that ain't going to cut it these days, folks. Number 2, what's the second thing you can do to land an interview in the ICU? Is you need to do your homework. You need to do your homework on whatever facilities are out there that you're interested in, facilities that are in your area. Which facilities hire new grads? Which facilities have hired new grads? And which of them are hiring new grads? I wouldn't waste your time, at least not in the beginning stages, of aggressively or having some sort of intention of applying to a facility that has no history of hiring new grads. I mean, it just makes sense. Number 3, the third thing I would do to land yourself an interview in the ICU is that you need to stack the deck. Stack the deck in your resume. What other qualities, what other characteristics, what other traits, what other work-related history do you have that the ICU can use? For instance, where in your work history, in your personal history, can you prove that you have good time management skills, that you have attention to detail? You could mention those in your clinical rotations. You could mention those in whatever job you held down while you were in school. Either way, you've got to stand out from the crowd. Like the last video I did about interview tips, how to stand out in the crowd. You need to stand out from the stack. The stack of other new grad RNs that are interested in working in the ICU. How do you stand out? What do you have that they don't have? Losing my train of thought. I can't think of number 4. I know what number 5 is, so I think I'm going to skip 4. Maybe come back to it if I can think about it while we're talking about it. Want to say what's up and a thank you to any of the viewers who decided to hang out with me during the live feed. This is a live recording, so for those of you that are catching it on the record, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining me. Talking about 5 things that you need to have in order to land the job for an ICU as a new grad. Can't think of the 4th thing, folks, so we're just going to go on to the 5th thing. Renee, thanks for hanging out with me. Renee, all the way from the Caribbean. I'm a little jealous. So, the 5th thing that you need to think about when you're a new grad wanting to work in the ICU, a new grad trying to land the interview. Oh, I thought of it. 4th. The 4th thing you need to do is you need to be aggressive. You need to take the additional step. Sending out your resume and waiting for the magic to happen is simply not enough. You're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. I would highly suggest that you make some phone calls, that you go find out what's going on in that particular unit. Call the HR department, email somebody, show up. Yes, I have been known to do this. Show up at the place that you're going to work and go scope the place out if you have no idea what's going on. Or if you know anybody that's in the facility, have them scope it out for you. Have them start talking to people. Have them start mentioning your name so that maybe the person who's doing the hiring, either the HR personnel or the ICU director, maybe they're going to hear your name. Oh, wait, I heard that name Sean before. I think I have his resume. Let me take a look. Every little bit counts. And the 5th thing, the 5th and last thing you need to think about if you're a new grad RN interested in being hired in the ICU, looking to get that first interview, the 5th thing you need to think about is sometimes it's not in the cards. Sometimes you're going to have to accept something other than the ICU to get your foot in the door. Maybe there's no other facilities that are interested in hiring you as a new grad, but they have a contingency. You know what? We'd like to hire you, but we want you to spend 6 months in our step-down unit. We need to see how you perform. Because our ICU is a very high volume, highly stressful, very busy ICU, 20 plus 30 beds, and new grads don't have a good track record of succeeding in our ICUs. So it has nothing to do with you personally, but we think that maybe we'd like to see you test the waters before you go into the ICU. Not a lot of people like that answer, but it gets your foot in the door and you get to prove your worth so that you can get where you want to be. It's better than not getting hired at all. It's better than not getting the phone call at all. And it's way better than not having the potential option of getting into the ICU, getting into where you want to be. Had a couple more people showing up in the live feed. Renee, we have Gail. It says she's interested in working in the ICU. When she grads, she appreciates the advice. Awesome. Doing a nurse residency program. Perfect, Gail. And then Beagle Lover, pretty awesome name. Beagle Lover says that they admire me. I don't know if it's he or she. My apologies. So thank you very much. Gail, that's an awesome plan of attack, is to get into a nurse residency program. So we went over 5 things. 5 things that you need to think about if you're a new grad interested in landing that interview. And quite honestly, I've already forgotten the 5 things. Maybe I'll go back and look them up and then I'll write them down. If I'm thinking about them off the top of my head, you need to plan ahead. You need to do the legwork, stack the deck, talk to someone, and sometimes you need to accept going somewhere other than the ICU to start with. Getting in the ICU is not as easy as it used to be, and I'm not saying it was easy back then, but when I became a nurse and I was a new grad, I actually did the legwork. I stacked the deck. I made sure that people knew while I was still a student that I wanted to be in the ICU, and guess what? I thankfully got into the ICU. Peterson, thanks for showing up. Don't worry, you can catch the record. Once I hit the finish button here, you can go back and take a listen to it. Appreciate you hanging out with me during the live feed. And thank you for the compliment. 5 things to think about as a new grad interested in going into the ICU. Got a couple more people hanging out in the live feed. I'm gonna take a look and see what everyone's saying here, because YouTube Live is not the greatest. We have another person, Zistu. I'm sorry if I apologize if I say that incorrectly. New nurse said that my new nurse interview tips really helped, so I'm glad. Thank you very much for the compliment. Don't forget, if you're just hanging out with me, if you're still with me for this video, I'd love for you to share the video, love for you to leave your comments, tell me what you think. Please, please, please subscribe. Leave your comment down below. And what do I always say at the end of the video? Check your own pulse first.